Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the stream. Depends if you were here last time, of course, but nonetheless, thanks for watching it, even if it's at a later stage. So tonight we're gonna continue working on our Petindr application. As usually, I'll go over what we created before and then where we are stuck at right now. So we are building an application in Elm. That's a functional programming language. And the idea is that we're building this little app here. It's called Petindr. You can like or dislike pets. When you click on the I button, there's a profile text that pops over the pet. And then when you keep on liking pets, at some point the server will randomly return true, causing a match. And then that should display, this screen. Then after that, you can click on send message, which should route you to Bluebell's screen in this case, where you can actually talk to chickens. Awesome. So what we did, this is a kata, sorry, created by Jan Sabbe. Shout out. And we first had some episodes where we created or added functionality where we can toggle the info pane. So basically adding functionality clicking on this I button. Then we implemented dislike and like buttons just to advance the array basically, or the pets. And then also when we like, it should send out an HTTP request to be able to return a boolean on that. Then we followed step 4 to create a separate Elm application that basically does this, so the chatting with a pet, which we then also connected to a backend server over WebSockets. And then after that, we also added routing so that when you go to, for example, this URL, so with the hashtag chat and then /1, you would be chatting with Princess. So then, depending on what's in the URL, you'd be chatting to that pet that you're supposed to be chatting with. And then last week, we tried to connect it all by making sure that when you actually click on send message, that you then get routed to the chat box where you can chat with the pet that you just matched with. So we did that gradually, or we tried that to do that gradually, first with this chat application, and then getting or displaying it dynamically based on the URL with the pet ID. And this was a step that was too big. We tried to use this as a resource to actually restructure our application like this, in this manner, which contains data, page, request, and views, and then a route.elm file to get everything working. But this concept of page is something that I noticed last time is unnecessary to do whatever we want to do actually. So that left us with this bit right here. So right now what we have is we have split up our home and our chat application or files and we are tying them together in this main application right here. So I can show you what we have right now, which is just this application that advances pets. You can click on send message and it doesn't do anything yet. Go back does return. All right, so this stuff is still working. This button also still doesn't do anything yet. Right, cool. So that's where we're at right now. Now, maybe a little background on how or why this main.elm thing still exists when we have a home and a chat application. So as I may already have told you guys, is that this main application is supposed to tie it all together. So our home and our chat applications still have their very own initialization, view, update, and subscriptions things. But the idea is that we are tying it together in this main application. So you'll see redirections from this main Elms update function to the home page, in this case is update function, just like this. And that it's always the same thing. Basically, we'll call update on our main application. We check what kind of message that we got. And then we route that contained, so the wrapped message, which is of the type that home understands, or home's updates function understands. And we just pass it along to home's update function, which then returns a home model. And then the only thing that we'll need to do is wrap it again in its own wrapper, basically. So that's what we're doing right now. I mean, in the message that main.elm understands. So that's where we are at right now. Now, I also want to know if chat still works. Wait, maybe first let's verify if home actually works, because I'm not sure whether or not we're actually, so we are using main, and then let's see how that actually works in our init thing. So we do this stuff, which doesn't do anything for the moment. And we'll initialize our model with home's initial model and then chat's initial model. And then this is probably key right here. So model at is first instantiated to the home page. What we want to do, or what I want to do right now, is change this into chat and then see if that also still works. Oh, chat takes an integer, so let's just take, I don't know, 4, and then see what happens now. Right. We just want to pass a message. All right, and then refresh. So refresh doesn't do anything, or doesn't show the chat page just yet. Which leads me to believe. Nope, we are calling chat's message though, which then reroutes into the update message right here. Maybe we haven't connected the view just yet. Yeah, indeed. So what we're doing now is we are not taking into account what sort of message was sent to base our view off of. So let's first check if this thing works actually. So this should now fail because we are depending on submodel to be a chats model. And then, right, so this is no longer a home message, but it should be a chat message, right? So the argument to function view is causing function view is expecting the argument to be a chat.model, but it is a home.model. Right, because our model right now, yeah, okay. So let's just do this. There we go. Now if we refresh, there we go. We are talking to Cricket. I'll also need to know that this stuff still works, actually. So this stuff works, but I'm not getting feedback anymore from my pet. So normally it would be chatting back to me, but now it's not. So that means that we have something to work for now. So let's first get that stuff working, and then we can really tie them together and then make it work properly. Because at least it'll give me the verification that the chat page also still works while being tied into main. Now, to set up chatting with pets based on the ID, we've set up this. So we've set up a WebSocket, and we do that inside of a subscriptions function. So what we want to do now is do this, or well, we want to sort of have to make sure that it gets set up. So because right now our subscriptions is this, so I could go like this right now. And then set up our subscriptions with a model to be this. It should still work though. Oh wait, subscriptions. Okay, so this is weird because I just extracted it, right? Yeah, okay. So it should just return this. So it was no longer a an anonymous function. And we can create that. It's something that takes a model and returns a subscription, I think. Sub with a message. There we go. So this thing should now also adhere to this signature, which is, I don't think it's gonna. Especially since, well, this is now a model. So I think what we should be able to do now is find out how we can chain all of the underlying subscriptions at a point where it's only necessary at that point is what I'm trying to say. So I don't want to be setting up a WebSocket whenever I'm displaying the home view, I guess. Or maybe I shouldn't care about that just yet. But then again, I can't actually set it up because I'll need the pet ID that I matched with. So this should be interesting. Yes. So let's see how we can get this to work then. So for now, I guess what we could do. Because we really want to set this thing up whenever we've been routed to our chat page. So for now, this match chat message received is something that's coming from chat, right? So that's this, it's part of this chat message union type. I kind of want to dynamically set it up at some point. So let's maybe look at what WebSockets listen looks like. Oh, by the way, if you have any suggestions, please help me out. I'm welcome to receiving advice. It's not like I'm trying to show you guys how it's supposed to be done. It's really you guys watching me fumble with trying to learn Elm. So if you've got any hints, please do share. Right, so yeah. So what we first do is we set up a listen. And then sending, sending is something that we do to return or send something over WebSockets, but here we're just wanting to listen. So I really only want to be listening whenever it changes. So maybe what I could do is wait first before I do anything. Okay, so I'm getting some helpful hints from Jan Sabbe himself over the Slack channel because Twitch chat annoys him for some reason. So, but let's see what he says. He says, I think the subscription function just is called every time the model changes. So I would be able to match on model page and then either return sub none or the WebSocket listen. So indeed, so that means I can case match on let's destructure it like this, like we did the view function. Sorry, view function. That makes sense. So whenever, actually no, now we can, for just to make it work quickly, what we could do is actually no, we could call chats subscription with submodel 2. Which we then also need to map again. Yeah. Because this returns a sub, or this expects a sub message to be returned, but this thing returns a chat sub. Oh no, sorry, sub with a chat message. So let's think about that real quick. So that means we can probably also call map on this thing, I hope, where we want to use chat.message or chat message. So that's this kind of thing. Yep. And then we are using chat subscription. So it seems to be compiling. Let's, or it actually is compiling. So let's check out whether or not we are talking to chickens again. Yes, the chicken says bog. All right. Excellent. Thanks for the tip, Jan. Cool. So, right, it only makes sense, right? Because everything in main basically is routing to the actual page, basically, is what Richard Feldman calls it. We've also called it page, apparently. So now that everything is working, I mean, both the home page and the chat page, we can start to work out a model or work out a program where we can combine them both based on a route. So the way we did that in the chat application is, where is that thing with routing? It does have a URL. So also that would make this main obsolete in the end, right? I mean, for both the chat and the home programs, but main would still have that thing. The other thing that we did was we also wrote test for the routing application. And please don't pull out my keyboard, Gord Jones. Thanks. Uh, right, so chat should route to there. Now so nothing routes to home as well. And what we did use was we are parse hashing route, and route is something that we expose in main. So that's this thing right here. So whenever anything else is displayed in the browser, then we just move to home. Otherwise, we should move to chat, or we should display the chat page. Okay. Now the only thing we need to do is listen to these things, which we already do actually, because we are handling this thing where we say deduce page from location, where we just return a model. Ooh, I think what we could do now is then do this. Oh wait, we already have that thing. So the active page is this thing. Now I wonder if page is used somewhere. I guess not, or not yet at least. I'm not sure if that's normal to be using page, so this thing, in your model as well. But let's try it anyway, right? Current page. So here we should update our model. So we say based on or did we write that? So yeah, let's just try and do this and then see where this gets us. So it should be current page based on the location, but then I don't think we should be doing this actually. I think we should just use route. That then is used like this. Because this gets a location, right? So with the location, and this is gonna return a page. So let's write a let expression. And then update our model. I have not yet imported. Oh, what's the problem? It returns a maybe. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So this should become a maybe page, and then we'll deal with that. Or let's just make it explicit, and then we'll deal with that later. This is a maybe of, or actually no, it's just chat 4. Okay. Does it still work? Yeah. Sure does. So we did update our model actually now as well, right? Or have we? Ooh, actually, refreshing means we'll go here and then adding chat 1. Yeah. URL changed. And now it's 2. Okay. I think this is seems legit. Seems legit. But then it doesn't get dynamically changed anymore. So now it's always gonna be cricket. Why is that? Why is that? Maybe it's because of this. Yeah. So we initiate or initialize our page with 4, which is cricket, and that leads us to stay with cricket. Okay. But this thing does work though. So now what we should do is base our view on the page. So I can, so when my current page is just home, then I can call home view with just submodel or homes submodel. We should probably reroute that later. When it is just chat with pet ID, then we can, god damn it, do I, when it's anything else, I have no idea. Display div saying text. Whoops. So when it is a just of a chat with a pet ID, then display whatever is in submodel 2, which is this thing. Oh yeah, and then in our initialization, we also initialize this thing, but yeah, all of the stuff that we did to subtract or no, wait, we already have it. So because that's what this URL parser thing does, I only need to update my model as well. I mean, the model for chat message. Oh, I'm sorry. This one. So submodel 2. Let's seriously, let's rename this. Submodel 2 is the chat submodel. And then, oh, okay, cool. This is a home submodel. Okay. And then what we can do is, so chat already gets the pet ID as well. Here is the deducing stuff. So we want to update the current page, but then we also want to update the chat submodel, or yeah. Wait, do we actually route it to? In our view, we only pass along. Ah, yeah. Yeah, so this only needs to be initialized at some point, but then also yeah, it should only dynamically change on the view. So how, or when does the subscription thing kick in? We have to do the same logic here, I guess. So both view and subscriptions are gonna have to do that stuff. Mm. So that's the current page, and then chat sub model equals model, well, hmm. Let's try to do it like this though. Home sub model, chat sub model, and then current page. And then I can do like this. Sorry. And then we can update our chat submodel with the new pet ID, which I'm unsure what the model looks like for now. It doesn't. Yeah. Mm. Maybe that's the only thing we need to do is just call perform get the way we did before. Initialize model with fetched pet, and then initial model. Initialize model with pet, and where does this get called whenever we say this thing? And where do we call fetch pet? Inside parse URL. So then instead of fetching the pet when we parse the URL, now our changing event or life-changing event is once again deducing page from location. So I don't want to be updating my model, I don't think. Well, actually, I want to update just the page to do the routing stuff, I guess. So all of this can be reverted. All right. Okay, so Jan says to write a case of deduced page. So instead of doing this, deduced page. So just like this thing. And then not route to any of this. So whenever it is just the chat, then I can call fetch ID, I think. This is the thing that still confuses me. So to write a case of deduced page in my deduce page, then you'll have the pet ID and the matching case, and you're able to create a chat model with that. Except I think I want to still fetch pet information using this thing whenever whenever the chat page gets triggered. I guess. Yeah, because fetching a pet will send out uh, an initialized model with pet, and then it will update everything, and this will get started. Hmm. So I want to be calling initialize model or send out a message, but basically call fetch fetch pet, and fetch pet takes, where's that stuff? Up here, which is gonna send out a command with a message. With a pet ID, and then we'll, in that case, automatically update the model from our chat application. So I want to be calling chat.fetch pet with pet ID. Where's the case of gone to? Yeah, indeed. So I was thinking that as well, Jan. So Jan asks, so shouldn't the deduce method return both a model and a command and be called somewhere in update? And I think he's right. Which it is being called from update. So instead of sending out command none, we should do this. And now deduce page from location should return this, and then here we need to map again with chat message, and then this thing. Holy shit. Yeah. And in this case, I think I just want to. Wait, because it still needs to return a model. Oh, with the updated thing. So we can, oh, sorry, we can do this. A new model. It's compiling, but I'm not sure if it's gonna work. Let's think about what we just did, maybe. Fuck. I'm confused about what I just wrote, but it's compiling, so we'll just have blind trust in what we wrote, right? Okay, so that's 3. Then when I update the page to be this, no. Maybe that's a bad idea indeed. Okay, so that does reroute, and then if I go maybe home or something or anything else. Whoops, I guess this is my 404 page because you cannot route to this. Fucking hell, it just works. Oh my god. Oh, Alum, I love you so much. Fucking hell. I think that calls for a celebratory song. Alum, 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 alum. Loving it. Oh, what's up, man? My job here is done actually. This is so awesome. This is so awesome. Holy shit. Let's commit this. Routing. Ermicard. There was a bug that I noticed though. So when, let's say we are talking to Princess, you can already see it right here. So when we are talking to Princess, it maintains the chat messages. So let's, hi Princess. And then when we reroute to another pet, this thing changes, but the chat thing doesn't get refreshed at all. But I think so we would be getting meows from now on. Yeah, there we go. Purr. So we could fix that, right? It's supposedly here. So whenever our routing thing changes, then we should, where is that thing? URL changed. Do we still even get this? And then if so, how? Hmm. But so I don't understand how or why it is that this chat application is also able to listen to URL rewrites. Or is it even? Wait, let's get rid of some stuff. So we don't need this anymore now. Correct. We don't need this thing anymore now. Correct. The subscriptions in home we don't need either. uh, yeah. This is gonna become annoying, right? All right, we are not calling subscriptions based on the page yet, so it's actually just firing all the time. That's why we already had these chat messages in there even before we went to the chat. So let's just do this and then do this. Current page. Current page. Well, when it's home, or actually when it's chat with our pet ID. Actually, doesn't matter, right? I am going to have to do this as well. Home sub model. Then it is sub.none. Alright, it's still a maybe. Okay. So now when we first go here, when we go here, we refresh the confused. So it's just URL changed, but there was also a chat message. Sorry, I want to start off from the beginning and refresh this. Why is it showing the chat page now? Oh, because of this. I am so dumb. All right, cool. Then we wait a bit, or we click around a bit. Still no chat messages. Then let's say we have now matched with Cricket and are talking to her. We could, yeah, we are indeed getting chat messages. And then I'll get rid of that chat thing. And I'll notice whether or not I didn't turn on logging for messages that the pet is sending out. But in any case, there's no other chat message anymore coming in here. So that's cool. All right. What can we do next? Is actually something Jan suggested. He's guessing that in your deduce page method, let's go deduce page method. So this thing, you could create an entirely new chat model with empty list of chat messages. This is correct. Yeah. Yep. Let's do that. So let's always update our chat sub model to be, and I think chat also has an initial model, but I'm not sure what it contains, so let's find out before we start using it maybe. Initial, no? Yep, so it's always going to be cricket and with an empty, whatever this thing is. Yeah, our text and then an empty, so we will always be chatting with cricket, I suppose, but then that stuff gets filled in with thanks to this fetch pet thing. Okay. So this should work. So that means going to chat 3. Do we have to probably refresh everything? Then go to here. What? 4? Okay, so it wasn't identified as a change in location, that's why. Okay, so talking to cricket, she's saying bok bok. I go to 5. And it does get cleared. Cool. And I also should be talking to Mr. Fuzz right now. Yep. That's awesome. Cool. So we're clearing all of that stuff as well over here. So let's follow that. Let's follow that path a little bit. So whenever a URL changes, we emit URL changed or the URL changed event. We can do that because our nav program is a function that takes something that takes a function that can translate a location into a message, which is our URL changed message, because URL changed knows about a nav location. So whenever URL changes happen, these things get fired thanks to the nav program. What do we do when a URL change happens? Well, we deduce the page from the location, and we pass along a location and a model. Deduce page from location, then first of all, does the actual routing, or actually, it doesn't actually do the routing, it parses the route, or it uses the parser, which is a route in our case, that takes a location, which we then use a library that is able to map home to top, but then I think I wanted like a wildcard this or something. I'm not really sure. Which then does that, so it will return a home or a chat, which in our case is a page, so it's a union type. Then so that's what route thing does, which provides us with a page. Then what we do is we'll reinitialize a new model, or yeah, just reinitialize a model where we set our current page to the deduced page, and then we'll also update our chat model to be initial model. I guess we could also just refresh our home page in that case, so to basically start over from there. I guess that does make sense, right? So home sub model equals home initial model. Okay. And then to be able to return something, so this is basically building the model that we're gonna build in any case. So then when deduced page happens to be that one of chat, we'll update our new model, or we'll return our new model, and then we'll also, as a command, we'll call fetch pet with the pet ID that we got from the URL and the browser location, I mean, which then gets mapped or wrapped into a chat message. And chat message is a specific type of this message that basically wraps a chat.msg. And we'll send that out. So that leads us to fetch pet in chat. And that thing will eventually throw a new message. Either it's a no-op or it's an initialize model with pet message. And then initialize model with pet message is also, so it's routed via main into here again, where we update our chats model, which then gets, where is that thing? Translated into, allez, this update thing here, because then we re-enter with a chat message in main. The specific type of chat message then gets pushed back into the update function of chat with the chat submodel in this case. And then we'll just update our chat submodel which with whatever is being returned from this update function. And that's it basically. And then stuff gets rendered, and stuff gets rendered because we can take in a model. I destructure it here into these three things, and then whenever the current page is just home, I'll route to home's view with the home submodel, and I'll map a home once again, so the view returns HTML with MSGs, but then the MSGs from home. I'll wrap that into a home message. For chat, it's the same, and whenever I get either a nothing or a just whatever, something that I haven't taken into account just yet, I'll I'll render a div saying, whoops, I guess this is my 404 page. All right, man, that's really cool. So there is a lot of duplication now, though. This thing can go as well. This thing can go. Don't need this either. Don't need this. Don't need this. I remember there was some other bug as well. All right. Okay, wait. So first, let's commit this again. Fixed bug where convo wouldn't get refreshed on navigation. Then I did get another message from Jan saying that he's guessing that if I merge parse URL and deduce method, the deduce page function in a single method, you'll fix the bug that an initial URL of chat4 shows the home page. Okay, this I'll need to parse myself. So once again, there is a bug that when I first go to chat/4, so if I just do a refresh here, so my URL has stayed the same, and I have restarted my Elm reactor, and I go here, then I'm basically going home, right? Which is not okay because I'm supposed to be on chat/3, so talking to baby chicken. I forget. So this is a bug, right? Because I want to be immediately talking to baby chicken straight from the get-go. And then Ion suggests to merge both parse URL and deduce page. Parse URL. This thing. Yeah, of course. Such derp. Indeed, so basically I should be calling deduce page from location. model and location. And this should already fix it, or what? No, because it takes a model and then a location, but then I guess I can switch this around. And then switch this around. And then of course switch this around. Then that should work already. And then I guess I can call this parse URL because that's exactly what it does, right? Parse URL. This can go. And then instead of deduce, I'll call parse URL. And now parse URL also gets used in the initialized or at the beginning of this. So if I Control Shift refresh, bam, talking to Bluebell. All right. Thanks for the suggestion, Jan. So we can commit this and then fix bug where init URL wasn't taken into account on initial page, I guess. Oei. I'm having some problems with Slack or something. Whatever. Elm Reactor. I think the other thing I was doing was cleaning up stuff I didn't need anymore. And I think that also includes a URL changed over here because now all of the URL changed events are being caught in the main application. So I don't think I need any of this. This I don't need either. Subscriptions I'll do need. Then I won't need this either anymore. Which means I won't need that either. And then this can just change to no up just to make sure that that the compiler will break whenever I add a new message. So this compiles, then this should also compile, and it should also still work actually. No. All right. Now let's clean up home a little bit. If I actually need to do that, for matchmaking is something we'll need to do in any case. No, I think that's about it actually. And let's make sure that we've got no access things anymore in here. Nope, seems legit. Okay, cool. Let's commit that as well. Ugh, every single time. Or actually, what I did was removed unnecessary code from chat. Okay, and now the last bit, I guess, is when I match with a pet and I click on send message, then I want to get routed to that pet's chat page. Okay. And then I'll have to restart Slack on my Mac because it kept on giving WebSocket errors or whatever. So that means I can actually just go to home now. And then clicking on send message means send message was clicked. And then I can either decide to pass along an ID or just use the model, because I think our model now has a current pet, so I can just use that, right? So I'll just stick with this thing. I will save, and then that will break things, which is exactly what I wanted. So now we'll need to take care of send message was clicked, the event. Wow, Slack is really broken. So sorry if you're trying to reach out, Jan, you'll have to use a Twitch chat, even though it it's giving you some trouble. So whenever send message was clicked, what do I want to do? I want to navigate, so I think I want to send out a command, right? Because the URL navigation thing, let's check that stuff out. Or router navigation. This thing. This thing. Step to a new URL. This will add a new entry to the browser history, or modify. This will not add new entry to the browser history. It just changes the one you are on right now. Future pages that the user can go forward to. Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure which one I should use now, though. I guess it's modify, because modify changes or sends out a command with a message. And then I think that this is the new URL. Yeah. But I also want to update the new URL. Oh yeah, so I guess that's exactly what's gonna happen. So let's call nav dot, what was it? Modify. Let's play with that stuff. Nav modify URL to, and then I'm unsure. Well, let's do this. With model dot current pet dot pet ID. Oh yeah, navigation wasn't imported. Why do we still need navigation here, actually? Or why is Elm not complaining that it's unused? Ah, my bad. There we go. So that's still a cleanup step that we should add. Call me. Yeah, sure. Yep. And we are still editing, so alright, I needed to import navigation as nav into home. Where is that thing? Let's just add it here. Alright, and then there was a problem over here because current pet doesn't have a pet ID. Why is that? Oh, it just has an ID. Or not. I need to string this, right? To string. Yep. And that should modify the URL, which should then be picked up again by, where's main? This, and then just kickstart the whole thing again. Now the only thing I need to do is check in my view. So I think it's in the match overlay. It's a match. Send message should also send on click. I forget send message was clicked. There we go. Maybe a comma. All right, let's check it out. So it's a match. This is exciting. Oh, incorrect. Is that because I already? Yeah, I think we. It's the possible matched pet that we should get, not current. So current is the one I am going to be showing. I think there's some small bug there. So when the send message was clicked, I want to use this. There we go. Okay. You Muppets. Jonge, jonge, jonge. Alright, let's make this a bit smaller so that we can follow all the things. Let's like princess. We matched. We can do send message, and we now should be talking to princess. Boom! Boom, baby! This is great. Ooh, we can implement this by this as well now. So let's match with baby chicken. Yes! Yes, dude! That's excellent. This is going so well, actually. Send message routes to chat. Achievement unlocked. And now we also want to. Where is that thing? Error. Clicking on back. Where is that thing? In the view. Clicking on back. Ah, hier. Fucking hell. On click. Back was clicked. And now we can deal with that event in our update. Wait, actually add it as well. Christ. once again, we need to do this thing. Or I think just, since this is modify URL, I think, what did I forget already what the suggestion said. Modify doesn't take into account, so we should change it to new probably, because then we can use back. eh, eh, eh. Excellent, huh? This is great. So that means in home we don't want to use modify, but we want to use new. And then in over here I can call nav back one. Is it really gonna be this easy? Okay, let's check it out. Let's check it out. Check it out, man. Send message. Broken. It's oh no, it just did not click on it or something. All right. Did you see that? Ali? Matchmake was clicked though. There's something wrong. No, matchmake was successful. I still haven't clicked on it. Why keep... What the hell? There is something wrong. There is something wrong there. What is the problem then? So... What the hell is this? So I'm clicking the thing. Ah, it's probably some boxing issue or something. Yeah, okay. Ha! This is great. All right, job's done here, guys. Buttons are now navigating. Cool. All right, so let's conclude with going over all of the stuff that we did. So we built this application called Petindr. We started off by just rendering dynamically this page, clicking on this I button, conditionally rendering this div. Then clicking on these buttons would just advance the list. We would then also have actual calls to the backend, sending us random results. Upon receiving a true or a boolean, true would mean that we would match with this pet. Then we wrote this chat application as well, where allowing us to talk to kittens or pets, basically. Then we made this this application also render dynamically based on the URL. Oops. And finally, we did some actual routing. Whenever we clicked on this button, then we would get routed to this application with the correct matched pet ID. Nice. And then also clicking this back arrow would bring us back to the page where that we came from. All right. This has been some journey. So there is some stuff that we definitely can do better. For example, there is some conceptual duplication in our model, because every time we would need to add another page, for example, let's say we would add or our own profile page, we would also need a new profile submodel. That would be like this then, for example. And then same for here. So all of that is a bit normal, but that the problem is that page and its model are, and then also their messages are very, very tightly coupled, which is normal, right? Because whenever you are routed to a page, you also want to just reroute all of the things, both the view, both the update, and then pass along the model, or the correct model. So all of that, we can do something about that, I guess. And then what else? Some other stuff that we're not doing. Maybe I should be writing all of these down, right? Or at least adding them to my own. Maybe just add it to a to-do or something. Stuff that I want to do next time. So I don't want to do any of these things. Right. So this thing. So what can we do is improve coupling between page and its model view MSG records. And then what's other stuff that we could do is deal with maybes properly, because right now, for example, or actually make a 404 page. Deal with maybe types properly. Make pet ID explicit instead of an integer, right? And so we get even more stronger typing, so that whenever some integer is being passed into my URL, it's not just an ID or an integer, it's made explicit into a pet ID, right? All right. Doopy doopy doop. What else can we do? Taking any suggestions here, by the way. We could also actually try to use, move to Richard Feldman's spelling architecture. So that's this thing what I was. So with architecture, I mean this module structure. I think it's architecture as well, right? Cool. All right. I think that's about it. If there's anything you guys want me to try out, just leave it in the chat. Send me a tweet. But for now, I think this has been quite cool. I think I'm going to add proper exercises to Jan Sabbe's Petindr kata itself, and then make sure that whoever is gonna try and do this kata themselves can get better and helpful hints, and then don't need to run into all of this crap that we've run into while trying to go for Richard Feldman's architecture from the get-go. All right, cool. So that's it for me today. All right, thanks again for watching, everyone. And well, I'll see you guys next time, hopefully. Peace.